All right, I'm going to address why I'm wearing the fisherman before I do anything else. Um, for decades, the New York Islanders have been one of those organizations that flirts with respectability, but they usually end up either out of the playoffs, out in the first round. They're not seen really as being a very strong organization, and it kind of started here, started before the fishermen, but a really bad marketing decision that was made that now years and years later everybody's like, I want a fisherman jersey because we forget these were reviled. This was when the team was completely being run the wrong way, and it's felt like the Islanders have flirted with respectability since then. During the Tavares era, there were a couple years they kind of sort of get there. They did knock out Florida in the first round a few years back, but they've never quite got over that hump. Today, I provide evidence that this team is ready to leap back into the conversation as one of the better run teams in the league, and I want to give full credit to Barry Trotz, to Lou Lamoriello for bringing Barry in as soon as he was a free agent after he walked out on the Caps. His contract had ended. I don't want to make it sound like it was more dramatic than it was. Just he wanted money, and they went, we don't think you're worth as much as you think you're worth. And he's like, okay, I won you a cup. And we may very well see Todd Reirden against Barry Trotz in the second round. And that's fantastic. That, honestly, is completely fantastic. Today's game illustrates just how every player on the Islanders has bought into this system. And, I get this feeling that, first off, my bracket's completely busted. Couldn't be happier. I I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Honestly, I've watched the Penguins and 2 out of the 3 years this channel has been running, the Penguins have won the Stanley Cup at the end of it, and I was the first time around I was like, well, congratulations to them for proving people wrong. The second time I was like, okay, stop it. And this year I was worried it could happen again because the Penguins flying under the radar, very dangerous team. The Islanders have made them look like they are not any danger at all. They've done this clean. They have done this while frustrating all of the Penguins' top 6. Malkin, very frustrated. Crosby, Kessel, McCann, you name it. These are frustrated forwards right now. Hornqvist, it boiled over for him in the third period, and it still didn't turn things around. So if Hornqvist was looking to fire things up, it didn't work. First period, Wilson scores from Pettersson and Schultz. And early on, it's 1-0 Pittsburgh. So for Pittsburgh, this is hope. The crowd was really loud in Pittsburgh, and they were really into it. They must have watched those games in Nassau and said, we could be just that loud. The Islanders figured out the best way to silence them was scoring some goals. First, it's Eberle from Pulock and Barzal. Eberle is playing the best hockey of his career. Absolutely best. And not only that, but as a guy with an expiring contract, good timing, Jordan Eberle. You're going to make some money this summer because you look like a playoff performer right now. Nelson then scores from Kuhnhackl. Did I mention these goals were within 1 minute and 30 seconds of each other? Yeah. So the Penguins get the lead. It lasts about 30 seconds. And, within a minute and 30 seconds, they're behind. And as soon as the Islanders take that 2-1 lead, it took the energy out of that crowd. That crowd that when Wilson scores gets right in there. We're in this. As soon as Nelson scores that go-ahead goal 2-1, got kind of quiet. The Islanders outshoot Pittsburgh 9-8 in that first period. No power plays for the Islanders, 1 for Pittsburgh, and they don't score on it. And special teams, not really a story in this game. Except for this. There was a 5-on-3 for the New York Islanders in that second period. And it's noteworthy, and I put it on the board, because they call a timeout. So Barry Trotz calls them around. All right, this is important. We're up 2-1. We got a 5-on-3. We failed to score last time we had a 5-on-3 in this series. We got to score on this one. They not only don't score, but the Penguins, after running around and allowing that 5-on-3 to take place, and it was Jack Johnson holding the stick that caused it to be a 5-on-3, and Johnson's becoming prominent for the wrong reasons in this series. The Penguins kill that 5-on-3, and they draw a penalty against the Islanders. So the Islanders end up killing a penalty, but they kill it. In that second period, the Islanders outshoot the Penguins 16-9. Both teams had 2 power plays. Both teams failed to score on them. Third period. Very, very important that the Penguins' defense is airtight, because the Islanders are very, very smart. The giveaways today were 16-8. The Penguins gave up the puck 16 times. The Islanders did it 8 times. And that, to me, was the most telling stat in the whole list of stats I looked at, is that the Penguins kept coughing up the puck. The Islanders, the pressure, that defense. Pulock and Pelech are all of a sudden becoming very well known around the NHL. And if you guys could look back through old reviews on here, I've been telling you guys how well Pulock and Pelech are playing. And you know, it's been really a fantastic run for them in the playoffs. Komarov scores from Beauvillier, Filppula, and you'll notice Johnson's name's on there because he gets an uncredited assist on this one. I'm gonna go back. Jack Johnson last year came out of Columbus, and he threw a lot of stones at the Columbus organization on the way out. And honestly, you know, it didn't translate well, and it made it look like he was whining and complaining. And as somebody who tried to watch as much hockey as I could last year, I didn't understand why he thought he should have had more ice time, and why, you know, it's not my fault kind of thing. And the Penguins pick him up, and there were a lot of Penguins fans that said he'll be fine in Pittsburgh. It won't be a problem in Pittsburgh. You know, he'll get his game back. And I kept thinking, okay, he's really flawed defensively. And this kind of thing, this is what was happening in Columbus. This is why he was getting pushed down by Columbus. And it wasn't a personal thing between Tortorella and him. It was just his defense does this. And in the playoffs, it's fatal. That 3-1 goal, that's it. The Penguins did not have the pushback in that third period. Didn't draw a penalty. Couldn't draw a penalty. They didn't have enough control of that puck. And then, with about a minute left, Anders Lee takes a shot at the empty net. He hits it. Filppula and Pelech get assists. So Pelech gets an assist on the empty netter, which is a nice reward for his hard work throughout this series. The defense is winning this series. The Islanders have successfully frustrated the Penguins, caused them to make these turnovers, and played a flawless 3 games in this series to go up 3-0. Now, 1975, and it was mentioned on the broadcast, somebody mentioned it on Twitter as well, the Pittsburgh Penguins were up 3-0 on the Islanders. The Islanders stormed back and won 4 in a row. I don't see that for Pittsburgh in this series. I think they're done. They may win Game 4. I don't see how they win Game 5. The Islanders have done a fantastic job, and what's amazing is there are 5 power plays in this entire game. This game, after watching last night's Boston-Toronto game and watching this one, and just the contrast between the two, there's just as much frustration in Pittsburgh towards the New York Islanders as there was with the Maple Leafs towards the Bruins last night. But, you know, the cooler heads are prevailing here. And it's been fantastic for the Islanders. I don't know how far the Islanders can go, but this is the best the Islanders have ever looked in a playoffs since before they sported these things, going back well over 20 years. Leonard saves 24 out of 25. Not enough great things can be said about Leonard. He heads a puck behind the net, flips up behind him, and he gives it a header behind the net. Is just, he's playing so well. Matt Murray, 32 saves on 35 shots. Again, Murray has not been a story in this series. Crosby, not on the scoreboard. Malkin, not on the scoreboard. Kessel, nowhere to be found. Hornquist, no. McCann, no. Does Bukestad get a greasy goal? No. Everything Pittsburgh would be looking for some sort of an encouragement going into Game 4 is not there. And this team, by the end of that game, they just look completely defeated. And, you know, for the Islanders, this is the most impressive takedown of the Penguins I've seen since Boston swept them back in 2013. That was a very impressive takedown by the Bruins, and this is the most impressive one I've seen since then. So 6 years, I'll say. We'll see if they can finish it out in 4 in a couple of days' time. But what a tremendous effort shown by the New York Islanders, and I cannot say enough. Barry Trotz, yeah, he's coach of the year. This team, nobody's. Barzal scored 1 goal in his last 27 games. Doesn't matter. Barzal, arguably their most talented forward, not scoring, getting frustrated with it. Doesn't matter. And you can see he's doesn't have the confidence to take those shots right now. But it doesn't matter. He's got all the time in the world, apparently, to get it all figured out, because these Islanders are highly, highly likely to move on to the next round. People are going to mention the 2010 Boston Bruins. They're going to mention the 2014 LA Kings. All right, sure, these things can sometimes happen, but they're so rare, you can remember those couple of occasions where it did happen. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.